If it's a Labor government supported by the Greens, that's bad news for the resources sector because the Greens want to shut the mining industry down.
My opponent is running on fear and scare.
Anthony Albanese is working away in the darkness there, trying to frighten pensioners at night.
During this term of this parliament, this minister said this: we're seeking to put all income management onto the universal platform, which is the cashless debit card.
Election campaigns are full of promises, mistakes and announcements. Sometimes our political leaders speak in positive terms about the future.
I love this country and I love Australians. And more than ever, I am optimistic about our future and what I know Australians can achieve.
My fellow Australians, this election will determine whether we can come together to build a better future.
But in the past couple of days, the political campaign has turned negative, very negative. That is, the combatants are telling us a lot about what's wrong with the other side instead of their plans for the country. The coalition, which is trying to make Labor the issue at the election, has been pretty negative from the start.
The Labor opposition, who Australians know can't be trusted to manage money, they know that they're unproven.
But under growing pressure, Labor has also been going increasingly negative as it seeks to turn the pressure back on the government's own record.
We have to act on climate change. Now, this government have had 22 separate policies on energy and climate, and they haven't landed a single one of them. What we saw from the federal government, whether it be bushfires, floods or the pandemic, is a real pattern of behaviour.
And by today, the campaign is starting to be dominated by scare campaigns. That's the claims made about your opponents based on little or no evidence. The government claims Labor has a plan for a secret retiree tax, plans for higher taxes generally, and a plan for pushing power prices up. For its part, Labor says the coalition has a secret plan to cut Medicare and that it wants to extend the cashless welfare card to aged pensioners.
Now, Anne Ruston has made it very clear that she wants to take the universal out of universal health care. She has made it very clear that if we have a re-election of the Morrison government, we will see more cuts to Medicare.
Well, I think the comments you're referring to were back in 2014. Our government has been absolutely clear that we are not cutting Medicare.
So what's the basis of all these claims? The coalition's claim that Labor has a secret retirees tax is not a claim government figures publicly make, because it's not true. But it has run extensively on Liberal Party social media platforms. It's based on a 2019 opposition election policy to curb franking credit payouts, a policy that was dumped by Labor quite a long time ago. For its part, Labor is claiming the coalition wants to put aged pensioners onto the cashless welfare card, a card that operates like a bank debit card, but which cannot be used to buy alcohol or for gambling. Labor's claims are based on comments 2 years ago by the same person at the centre of the claims about cuts to Medicare, Senator Anne Ruston.
We've run a number of trial sites. We're seeking, as I said, to put all income management onto the universal platform, which is the cashless debit card. And I think then the conversation needs to be had about what are the advantages of this card.
But income management is different from the aged pension. Ruston insists she was not talking about compulsorily expanding the coverage of the card to aged pensioners.
Here he is, the Labor Party, frightening older Australians over something that is a complete and utter lie.
Now today come the claims that Labor's plans for the electricity network will dramatically increase power bills.
Now, when Labor was last in power, we saw overinvestment, gold plating of the poles and wires. And that is exactly what's going to happen again if Labor gets into power.
They said that electric vehicles would end the weekend. This has been around for 3 years, and the government have 3 years later got a front page splashes in tabloids based upon not quite sure what. Angus Taylor can't say what it's based upon in interviews he's given this morning. We did the hard yards on that.
If there is one thing both sides are definitely telling porkies about, though, it is this.
There will be no deal with the independents and crossbenchers.
I won't be doing any deals with independents.
polls continue to show a huge vote for independent candidates, and the prospect of a hung parliament and a minority government is a very real one. While both sides insist there will be no deals, the idea that after such a bitter campaign, either side would righteously abstain from doing a deal that would mean the difference between being in government or opposition seems rather unlikely.
And Laura Tingle joins me now. Laura, the Chinese government's just confirmed that it has signed a security deal with the Solomon Islands. What does that mean for regional security, and how does it play into Australia's election campaign?
Well, we have been anticipating that this would happen for a while, Lee, but obviously the fact that it's actually now happened is going to send a chill through the region. Certainly it's already sent a chill through the Australian security establishment and defence establishment. This comes at a time when our Minister for the Pacific, Zed Seselja, has been in Honiara trying desperately to persuade the government there not to sign this deal, and with this very high-level delegation from the US on its way. So basically the Solomon Islands has thumbed their nose at this and said, look, we will make our own decisions about these things. How does it play into the election? Well, clearly it does raise a question about how this was allowed to happen on the Coalition's watch. But I think crucially the question will be, in an election campaign, will everybody take a bipartisan position and basically talk about the broader issue? But it'll probably increase the element of khaki election in the campaign.
Laura Tingle, thank you.
Thanks, Lee.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.